comments about not just the atmosphere during the game, but kind of the atmosphere around the club beforehand. So I think there was a perception that that might have coloured kind of what you said as well as the game itself.
Like I said, for me, I just think when you're trying to achieve at this level, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, you have to be totally focused on that objective. You can't get distracted, like by anything, like whether it's, this time it was sort of whatever the issue was, but next time there'll be another issue. Like there'll always be something that will try and drag you away, and that's why I keep going. The discipline is to say, well, no, actually, what the most important thing is that we prepare ourselves for victory, and everyone's aligned in that. And when everyone's aligned in that, you've got a better chance of success. But if you're not, if people are sort of, geez, we've got to deal with this, we've got to deal with that, and what about this? And then I just don't think you can be truly successful at this level with the margins that you need to be if you get distracted.
So did you feel people inside the club weren't aligned and were distracted then? Was that fair?
I mean, that's...
Yeah,
but hold on a sec, Dan. I sat in here and all the questions I got were about that. Of course, I'm distracted. Like, we're human beings, mate. So, of course. It's not like... But do you want me to say there's a culprit in there that caused everything the other... That doesn't happen, mate. It's not how it works. All I'm saying is that there's always going to be issues, and how you deal with them and how we deal with them as a football club is going to be important, and until you go through these experiences. So, okay, you want a culprit? It's me, because I didn't take it seriously. That's what I think happened. I just didn't really understand what was going on. I just didn't think that was the case. If I had my time again, yes, I would do things differently. I would address the media differently the day before. I probably would address people in the club, because they're looking for me for direction. So if you want a head on a stick, it's my ugly mug, mate. So there you go.
Darren?
And I'm sitting here listening to you. I can't help feeling, I can be straight, I can't help feeling you're being incredibly hard on yourself. You've worked up in Scotland. Right. You've worked in, you've done Celtic Rangers. You know what a rivalry feels like. Yeah. You've worked in Australia. You've been straight talking. I've seen some of your interviews out there. I just can't help feeling, people say, you don't get it. And you get it, don't you?
I do, mate. And you know what? I had, when I started at Celtic, it was the same sort of discussion around, everything was framed around, because don't forget, when I took over, Rangers had won it the year before, and Celtic hadn't won anything, which is quite extraordinary for that football club. Like, they'd gone from trebles to not one trophy. And when I first got there, there was a lot of talk, not some internal as well, but a lot of it was about what Rangers were doing. And I was pretty consistent, and it would be on public record as saying, we've got to worry about ourselves. Don't worry about anyone else. You be the best you can be. And I actually, I've said a number of times, you run your own race, and when you get to the finish line, have a look around and see where you finished. Don't worry about what the person next to you is doing. And I've always been consistent with that. And I was up there. I thought it was really important up there, because I felt like there was too much of an obsession with what was happening at Rangers at the time, because they were ahead, that we were never going to catch them if that's what we were always obsessed about, because you can't control that. You can't control what another club does. You want to stop another club winning a trophy? Win it yourself. Like, that's the answer. It's not about... And that doesn't mean you don't want them to lose. I get that, absolutely. Like, I felt that living up in, as much as people were happy we were winning, they were just as happy the other mob were losing, and it was vice versa. So I get that, but the notion of not wanting to win for any reason, I can't understand it. It doesn't. So I don't think it's. Look, I don't think it's a healthy. Not healthy. Healthy is the wrong word. I don't think it's the right mentality to have if you want to be successful. If you want to be successful, you just worry about yourself. The best just worry about themselves. Be the best I can be. If that's short, then I'll get up next time and go that extra bit. Hate my rivals, want them to lose, but all I'm concerned about is myself. But I didn't hear anyone say that last week. all I heard was that it's okay to feel that way, and it's that it's understandable. So part of me thinks I am kind of on the outer on this subject, and I did get it wrong. But I won't change. Like I said, I'm fully respectful of that view, but I'm firmly on the other side of, I just think you worry about yourself.
Have you felt it necessary to maybe sit down with some people and say, look, this never happens again. It's done, it's gone, never again. You're going to change this thing differently.
No, I can't do that, but what I'm hoping I can do is, like I did at Celtic, is, provide a platform where the fans get what they want. And if I can give the fans what they really want, because as much as they may say, well, they're ecstatic if their greatest rival doesn't win something, what they really want is success. That's what it boils down to. So if I can give them success, then maybe I can sort of drive that message a little bit better.
You look at Sunday's game and Sunday as a day, as what might have been. I mean, because Villa got to go to a very difficult place, 5 wins from their last 6 for Palace. You go to Sheffield United, already relegated. Obviously, you respect the game, but they've conceded over 100 goals this season.
Yeah, look, as I said, I just felt it would have been disingenuous for me to say that we were in a good place when we've lost 5 of our last 6 games. It wasn't just about the other night. We knew we had some big tests coming, and we fell well short in these last 5 out of 6 games. And I don't think we earned the right to finish above where we are right now. So it wasn't just about the other night. So now I could spin it a different way for sure and say, look, we finished 8th last year. We didn't have Europe this year. We'll be in Europe next year. We brought some pretty good footballers to the club, some young, exciting talent. We're definitely playing different football, closer, I think, to what the expectations were when they appointed me. But that's not a good starting point for us, I don't think, to improve. The good starting point is to say, we've made some progress, but we've still got some way to go, and we need to address these things. And it wasn't just the other night. Like I said, this last period has shown me that if we want to compete against the best, the margins are small, but they're probably the hardest to kind of close.
Just the last one from me, unrelated to all of this. It's Jurgen's last day. Everyone obviously is giving him a few words to send him off. What would your message be? Yeah,
look, you always look for people who make an impact, and it's not always just about the trophies, and he's got some pretty significant trophies. I think for all of us, what we look for is that when it's all done and dusted, like I said, we've made an impact, that people remember us. Now, he will always be remembered as one of the most famous football clubs in the world. And it wasn't easy, because when you take over a club that hasn't had success for a while after tasting a lot of success, that's a hard shift. And he's put in a hard shift, and, I think... like I said, when you make an indelible impact where you've been, I think that's the greatest reward for anybody, apart from the trophies and, anything else you may gain along the way. He made people's lives better. No, nothing greater than that.
Tom?
And do you think a lot of fans will watch this press conference and read about it, and they'll have a lot of fears allayed by the way you've explained it, clarified all the things the other day, but they will have been quite alarmed at the reaction and worrying about whether you're happy here, really. So just to sort of draw a line under it, and I know you've sort of referred to it throughout the response, but are you happy at Tottenham? And is all this not going to be a problem?
I mean, we've lost 5 out of 6 games. Like, I'm not going to come in here and be happy. Look, I'm hoping that you guys, after sort of a year with me, have understood that I am who I am. I can't hide who I am and what I believe. And if I'm not happy about something, I'm going to say I'm not happy. We lost 5 out of 6 games. I'm gutted. I'm not going to walk into a press conference and try and paint a rosy picture, especially on the back of the preceding 24 hours, where I felt that, like I said, it was the most unenjoyable experience I've had on a touchline in my whole career. That's 26 years of football, where I'm sitting on the sideline not really enjoying the battle of against one of the best. You know, I could have sent in Chris Davies, mate, and probably, like I said, everyone's fears would be allayed and everything would be great, but at least people know how I feel. But am I up for the fight? Absolutely, mate. I love it. You know, this is why I've come here, and this ain't the last fight I'm going to have for sure. Because I'll be honest with you, the biggest fight I'll have at this football club is when we get close to success. That'll be the biggest one.
The game of the weekend, you need one more point to make sure you stay fit. I know we've had many press conferences this season where the debate about Champions League and talking some of the results.
Do you want me to park the bus and get a 0-0?
How important is it to, because obviously if Man United win the FA Cup final, if you drop down to second, Chelsea win above you, in the Conference League, does this matter?
Yeah, it does matter because, again, I think it's been misconstrued that somehow people think I didn't care about Champions League. All I kept saying was, of course, I want to finish as high as possible, but it wasn't going to disguise the work we had needed to do. And it's the same on the weekend. I want us to win. You know, I don't want to, like I said, we've got some, you know, we haven't had some great results and our performances have fluctuated. So we need a strong performance. We need a win. And, you know, that'll get us 5th spot and we kind of know where we're finished and we know what competition we're in next year, and I think that's important. But again, that doesn't change anything in terms of how I feel about the work we need to do. But yeah, it is important we win, absolutely. Coming off the back of our recent form, we need to go out there and again, I don't want to also overlook the fact that we played awfully well the other night. If we play that well on the weekend, I reckon we've got a good chance for a result.
Just finally, you obviously off to Australia after that, and you've spoken about it before when the fixture first was revealed. You know, your thoughts on it. Kieran Trippier yesterday after the Newcastle game was pretty blunt about his feelings about it, specifically ahead of the Euros. That it's not Benidorm, it's not round the corner, it's not ideal.
It's not what?
It's not Benidorm, as in it's not. It's not
What's that?
Benidorm.
Yeah.
Spanish holiday.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Don't go. You love it.
Don't go, you love it?
I like it.
Okay, all right, go on. If you like it, I'm not going.
I think those two things.
Okay.
If I can remember my train of thought. Yeah, so basically it's not around the corner, it's a bit of a
Yeah.
way, not ideal ahead of
Yeah.
European Championships. Would you understand, have you got any players that have had any concerns, and would you understand if they did?
No, look, we discussed that earlier, and I think our situation is probably a little bit different from Newcastle because like, they've had a European season, Champions League. It's been a big season. We haven't, and it's no secret. Part of this is yes, exposure, but also revenue for us. And I'm pretty certain, and I certainly wouldn't have allowed it to happen if we were in Europe this year and had a bigger game schedule. I probably would have said no to it, and I don't think the club would have expected us to go. So, you know, if we're in Europe next year, I don't think you'll be seeing this happen. I don't think it's ideal, but I think each situation is unique. And for us, on the back of our season, I think to play one more game 2 days after the end of the season, I think is, there's substance to it for us. And we had a discussion with the playing group really early on about it, and they understood why we're doing it, and we all kind of made a commitment to go, and that's what's going to happen.